Cats and TV.
Hey everybody, it's your guest reviewer JB here for Cats in TV. Today we're taking a look at Pillar by the Jonathan Scales Fourchestra. Before we get started on that, I want to ask you to please subscribe to this channel for more cultural content coming out regularly. Please consider underwriting the efforts. There are links to Patreon, Ko-Fi, and merch below. And if you like what you see here, please share this video out. Give it a thumbs up. Tell all your friends. You know what I'm saying? Write a little postcard and tell your friends, hey, you should check out this video. All right, Jonathan Scales Fourchestra, Pillar. Amazing, amazing album. This is one of these things that just kind of blew my mind. Let me give you a little context. About 3 weeks ago, something like that, at the time we're recording this, we saw Jonathan Scales Fourchestra at the Black Cat, nice little jazz club here in San Francisco, right in the middle of the Tenderloin. It's like, what is this nice jazz club doing in the middle of this place? But that's another story for another time. We saw this band, and it was just like one of these things like, my jaw was hanging down, you know, the whole time I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. Okay, the steel drums, the steel pans have always been one of those favorite kind of instruments of mine. I've always been fascinated by the sound of them, the kind of overtones, the harmonics of it. Actually, one of the first CDs I ever bought way back when, back in the 80s, was a CD of some steel pan music, and it had like an arrangement of a Bach fugue on there, arranged for steel pans. It was one of those things like, oh my, I want to hear, you know, I love Caribbean music, I love traditional music that has that steel pan sound, but the thing that intrigues me even more is when that instrument is taken out of that context and, you know, new and interesting things are done with it. Over the years, you know, there's been some really fantastic steel pan players that at least I'm aware of. Othello Molyneux, who did a lot of work with Jaco way back when, and Andy Norell, kind of local San Francisco Bay Area guy. But when I read about this guy coming through town, Jonathan Scales, you know, playing the pans, it's like, I got to check this out. I got to check this out. And like I said, oh man, I was just completely blown away by it. This album that we're looking at here, Pillar, is credited to the Jonathan Scales Fourchestra. The Jonathan Scales Fourchestra actually is a trio, and there's a whole story behind that, and Jonathan can probably explain that better than I can. But on this recording here, the trio is augmented by a lot of additional musicians. There's a lot of additional orchestration going on here. Let me backtrack and say they definitely were not lacking as a trio. You would think, you know, okay, the pans, you can get 2 notes at a time as far as things go. I mean, you got 1 stick in each hand, 1 note at a time, and then you have like the bass, and you think, well, how can you get a lot of harmonic content out of that? Well, let me tell you, we got to credit not only Jonathan Scales, but also Elon JD on bass and Maison Guidry on drums. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, my apologies. Especially Elon, man, on bass. I'm telling you, you know, this is a musician who's not just thinking in terms of root functions, man. This guy is filling out the harmony up and down the neck, and just like, you know, the way that he works in tandem with Jonathan, and they got a lot of really interesting harmonic areas that they're moving towards. The album itself, as I said, is fleshed out with a lot of orchestration. There's like strings, especially on a couple tunes. There's Bela Fleck, the fantastic kind of cross-genre banjo player, makes an appearance on here. Just, it's really wild. Mononeon, I don't know if you know his stuff. Fantastic bass player, does a lot of really interesting things on there. So there's like 2 basses on 1 tune there. Oh, it's amazing. The whole thing from start to finish, it's just like, it just flows, and it's so melodic, but it's challenging at the same time. It's one of those things that, you know, you just have to listen, and it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, it touches on sort of, you know, jazz fusion at times. It's definitely funky and in the pocket. There's elements of, you know, what you would call progressive rock in there, as far as, you know, a lot of shifting meters going on. But it's hard to compare this music to anything that's gone before, other than to say it's like, yeah, it's definitely funky and it's in the pocket and it's got, it's got jazz and funk elements, but it's really its own thing. The one thing that comes to mind, is I've recently been really digging this one Chick Corea album, The Leprechaun, where there's a lot, there's string quartet kind of integrated with Chick's compositions, and it's mostly, kind of a written thing. It's less on the improvisational side. So I hear a little bit of that kind of sound in there. Again, there was that one Weather Report album, Sportin' Life, which had a lot of kind of steel drums and Caribbean sounds on it. But these compositions don't sound like Joe Zawinul at all. I don't even know what I would compare it to, other than to say, if you want some interesting, challenging music that's really going to fire your imagination, check this out. And one of the things I really dug about this album, let's take a look over here. We not only got this album when we saw him, but we got the songbook. We got like the book of the charts for this, which is just a fantastic thing, for people who want to dig a little deeper into the music. Let's take a look at this book right here. You can see here, like for the first number here, see we got here's the kind of the lead sheet. And over here, we got, this is all the orchestration, all the strings and stuff that are on this. And let's just kind of go through some of the other. You see, there's a lot of really fantastic music in here. And it's just like, it's just blowing my mind, I'm telling you. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, once again, and if you're into, you want to hear something new and different and challenging, and you like, funky music that's got really interesting melodies and something that's just got a lot of harmonic twists and turns, you know what I'm saying? You know what it reminds me of times? You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. But it's like that. If you know what I'm talking about right there and you dig that, you're gonna dig this thing. So please check this out. Jonathan Scales Fourchestra, Pillar.
To find out more about Pillar and other releases by Jonathan Scales, please visit his website and check out the description below this video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to CatSynth TV.
Hey, you're watching CatSynth TV!